The switch just flipped in Allen Park. Phones up, eyes narrowed, the kind of late October post that tells you the brass sees a window and refuses to let it drift. I'm walking you into the room tonight. Why the board circled one specific veteran. What the tape says he still does better than most. How the dollars and draft math line up without derailing extensions, and when it would actually hit the field. I'll unpack the role, the snap plan, the locker room gravity, the exact ripple on Aiden Hutchinson's life, and the leverage that shows up in January. Stay with me, because the name lands when the picture is complete, and the move makes undeniable sense. You've watched this defense harden, its identity week after week. Four-man pressure is back to being a weapon, not a wish. Hutchinson has been winning his ones and twos with relentless hands, bending the edge and stabbing the B-gap when protections slide. The result isn't just sacks, it's quarterbacks resetting their feet, coordinators abandoning the deeper concepts they loved on Wednesday. We needed that resurgence, and we got it in a big way, with the metrics to match the eye test and national grades catching up to what Detroit has felt in its bones. No 97 is dictating games again. But you and I know the story isn't written by one star. Rotation wins in the cold. And the second wave has been asked to carry a bigger load because Marcus Davenport, a critical piece of the plan, has been shelled on injured reserve and won't be back until after the bye. That's altered the pitch count for everyone else and forced Kelvin Shepard to get creative with fronts and stunts. Good coaching has covered the gaps. The math still demands another closer for money downs. There's also a quiet hinge inside. The interior is getting healthier. Alan McNeil's return changes the geometry of protection centers can no longer overhelp. Guards can't cheat as often, and that compresses the pocket from the teeth out. Pair that with DJ Reader's anchor, and you're one veteran edge away from dictating how 3rd and 7 feels for the opponent. That's not theory. That's a chain reaction that shows up on film within 2 series. Front offices talk in 3 languages at this point in the calendar: tape, timing, and tolerance. Tape says, we're a nightmare when we can rush with 4 and keep 7 honest behind it. Timing says, the calendar's tight but friendly post-buy integration gives you 2 full installs before the stretch run. Tolerance is the key. Add someone who lifts the room and raises the floor on every 3rd down without forcing a young player to be something he isn't yet. That's exactly why my attention has been pulled to a specific profile. Heavy hands, violent edge set, inside-out flexibility, leadership nobody questions, and a proven knack for closing pockets even when the sack doesn't land. Let me show you the fit. Picture a nickel front with Hutchinson wide to the field, and our target aligned as a heavy 5 tech to the boundary. On early downs, he ruins reach blocks and punishes lazy combos, forcing cutbacks into help. On passing downs, run the tech stun Hutch penetrates B. Our vet loops tight, the guard commits his hips, and now the quarterback shuffles into a collapsing cut for McNeil. If protection slide to Hutch, our vet attacks the outside shoulder of a single blocking tackle who's already worried about power. If they chip Hutch, our vet's inside counter floods the gap window and the ball comes out on a time stop we control. That's real, not hype. You can feel how it would travel on the road in cold weather and in the playoffs, when everyone knows what's coming and you still win because your adults play like adults. Cost matters. Brad Holmes has been clear from day one. Buy opportunities, don't rent mistakes. The cap table can handle a veteran ad if the structure is clean and the number is sane, especially with rollover in mind and with void year tricks on the other team's ledger. That's why you look for a final year deal that was already massaged by its current club, with incentives doing some of the talking and future, dead money sitting in void seasons that wouldn't follow the player to Detroit. In plain English, you want a contract you can absorb without touching your core. Now zoom out to the marketplace. The national chatter hasn't been subtle. Contenders are sniffing veteran edges, and smart voices have openly connected Detroit to a certain New Orleans legend. When multiple angles in the ecosystem, from broadcast desks to beat rooms, start aligning around the same name, it's not an accident. It's the profile every contender covets in late October. Fresh enough, mean enough, smart enough, available if the price respects the player's stature and the team's timeline. Here's what the tape still shows you on that player. First step isn't fireworks anymore. It's a measured strike. But the strike lands. He long arms a tackle, reads the set like a veteran chess move, then compresses with power that travels. He wins late in the rep by locking out and peeking ball out. He's in the lane. Ball held, he forklifts. On third downs, he's still masterful at occupying two while freeing a teammate. And he's sneaky dangerous in the screen game because he understands quarterback eyes and throws those long paws into passing lanes, like a bouncer slapping a drink off the bar. At the leadership reel lived, respected, and you suddenly see how the entire room's temperature rises. What does this do to Hutchinson? It buys him honesty from protections. It steals chips. It forces coordinators to pick which veteran bully they want to provoke. And it gives Hutch more snaps against true one-on-ones late in games, where his conditioning separates and his counter catalog gets lethal. You want A-Dam playing downhill in December with fresh legs and a clear runway. What does this do for the back end? Everything. Pressure tightens windows. Windows lower penalties. Lower penalties keep you out of sudden change. And with Brian Branch sitting one game for something the league didn't like, you don't need to put your DBS in 68-snap marathons where they're asked to plaster forever. Pass rushers shorten plays. That's rim protection in football terms. All right, name time. The move on the board, the one that aligns fit, timing, and tolerance, is Cameron Jordan. That's the archetype the room keeps coming back to. A heavy-handed, scheme-versatile end who still squeezes pockets, lives for January football, and brings a standard with him. The contract realities make it plausible if New Orleans decides to prioritize picks and the Lions stick to disciplined compensation. He's 36, yes, but the job description we're talking about isn't 60-snap hero ball. It's 28 to 35 ruthless, intentional snaps that show up when coordinators script their best third down beaters. The market has already floated the idea in plain sight, and the numbers on his reworked deal point to the exact kind of mid-season ad that won't punish Detroit's cap now or later. As of this moment, there's no official announcement. This is love fire rumor territory with legs credible chatter, a contract that can travel, and a contender that would unlock his best self. If it closes, the timeline looks clean, post-buy install. 2 practice weeks to calibrate rush games with Hutchinson and McNeil. And then a December where the defense controls cadence and forces quarterbacks into short, panic decisions. What's the plan in my notebook if he lands? Year 1 row, base end to the boundary, early down edge setter, late down power rusher. Third and medium mug looks where he reduces to 3-tech and lets Hutch stand wide. Complementary pieces. Al-Quaid Muhammad stays aggressive on early passing downs. Tyler Lacey gets slotted work and heavy special team snaps. Rotations keep everyone under 40 snaps unless game state demands more. Situational green lights, backed up drives, 2-minute enders, and any series after a turnover where a fresh hammer often ends a possession in 3 plays. Risk controls, pitch count, Wednesday off legs, and a clear no-hero ball rule that turns late pursuit into layer contain, not chaos. What's the price range I consider fair? You mirror last year's scale for Zedarius Smith and adjust for age, leadership premium, and the fact that you're renting less than half a season plus playoffs. That looks like a day 3 pick with conditions for snap, thresholds, or playoff wins, one of Brad Holmes' favorite levers to balance reward and risk. The Saints keep some money they were already going to eat via void years. Detroit absorbs a manageable remainder. Everybody saves face, and the player gets a shot that matters. Before I wrap, I want you in this with me. Drop your package in the comments. What's the max you pay, and how would you structure the conditions? If you're out on the idea, tell me why, Age curve, snap count concerns, or faith in the current rotation when Davenport returns? This community has been sharp all season, and your cap sheet brains have caught things national shows miss. I'm reading and pinning the smartest takes. My bottom line: if Cameron Jordan becomes a Lion, the value isn't just the sacks, it's the adults in the room effect. It's the protection honesty Hutchinson earns on every third down. It's the playoff proofing you do in late October that shows up when the weather gets mean and the margins get thin. The cap can handle it, the timeline is friendly, and the football case is strong. I'll say it simply: this is a move that turns good Sundays into controlled Januaries. If you're riding with me, subscribe to Lions News Fan Report, tap the bell so you don't miss the next update, and share this with the one friend who texts you during 3rd and 7. I'll keep bringing you the real tape. Timing, tolerance, so you can argue smarter and enjoy the climb. Let's talk below.